Here are 7 tricks that I use on a regular basic in geometry nodes to enhance my projects. If these tips and tricks are useful to you, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, it would help me out a lot. Number 1, use volumes to blend objects together, to merge them together. For example, these cube landscapes, they are just instance cubes with a bit of displacement. We can make this much smoother and more landscape-like by hitting Shift A and turning this to mesh to volume and back volume to mesh. There we go, and we're getting a much smoother environment now. Now you can play around with these values. I like to set this to size and this to size as well, just because my brain clicks better with size. And we can then just play around with voxel size here and voxel size here. And you can even turn up the adaptivity to really get a different level of detail in various places of your mesh. Number 2, easily set up drivers to animate properties instead of using keyframes. For example, if you want to move points that you spawned in a very nice and organic noisy manner over time without actually setting keyframes, you can just hit the W value. If you set your noise texture to 4D, you can click on it, you can type hashtag, yes, hashtag, that will add a driver value, frame divided by 100, for example. And that will automatically add a driver value. You can play and everything will move around. And this is more like flies, but we can divide it by 1000, for example, and then we'll move it more like soothing particles. Number 3, an easy way to make an object follow a curve. For example, if you have a curve and a cube in your geometry nodes and you want to make the cube follow the curve in a nice way, what we can do is we can actually sample this curve here, drag it out, sample curve, and then we can actually get the position value. And what we can do with that is we can hit Shift A and find a set position for the cube, and we can actually turn our position from the sample curve to the position for the cube. Now the cube will disappear because it will actually spawn all the points to the curve position, which means all the corners and stuff to one location, which will overlap everything. So what we can do instead is just turn our mesh to instance, so find our geometry to instance, connect it here, and that way we can even Shift A find a rotate instance node, add it after the set position, and then we can actually rotate our cube along the tangents of the curve. Shift A, align rotation to vector, add the tangent to the vector, connect the rotation to the rotation, and here we go. Now the position on the curve is defined by the vector value of your sample curve. So a 0 is the left point, the starting point of your curve, 1 is the right point. If I crank the vector up, it will actually move our cube along the curve. You could play around with the actual rotation axis. For example, X will just lock it nicely in that direction, right? And it will follow the curve beautifully, no matter how this curve is rotated, for example. It will follow it nicely. Number 4, make an object look at another object. For example, if we always want this cone to point to our cube wherever our cube may be, we can add a nice geometry node setup on our cone. We can actually find Shift A, an object info node that we pinpoint to our cube and we set to relative. We Shift D this to drag this out to a self object. And that means that, well, it just gets the information from itself as an object, which means the cone rotation, location, whatever. And then we can drag out the location here, find a subtract vector math. We add this to the second location, and then the output will be the vector that points it in the correct direction to the cube. Now, how do we use that vector? Well, we have Shift A, an align rotation to vector, right? That automatically means that we can rotate a vector to an actual direction. And we use this vector to the actual vector direction, and we use the rotation of our cone because it already has a rotation. So we need to rotate that already present rotation to align with the vector. So how do we now use this? Well, what we can do is hit Shift A and find a geometry to instance there. And that way we can just use the rotate instance node here with a rotation that will now be this rotation. Beautiful, the Z direction seems to be the correct direction. Let's see if this works. We move the cube and the cone will always point at the cube, no matter where it is. Number 5, scale an object based on its distance from another object. For example, we have spheres that we spawned on points, and we have a Suzanne that needs to drive the scale of the spheres. So the closer Suzanne comes to a sphere, the smaller it becomes, pretty much to hide from Suzanne. How do we do that? Well, first of all, we get Suzanne into the setup here, object info. There we go. We drag, pinpoint Suzanne, set to relative, and then we can just get its location, right? And we want to get the distance between each of these instance points to Suzanne. How do we do that? We can just drag out the location from Suzanne, type in a distance, there we go, and the other vector should just be the current position, which will be the position of each of these points for the instances. So this distance we can now just crank into the scale. Now it doesn't matter that this is a float value and this is a vector value, because this float will just treat it as a uniform scaling value. Now this already works. When we move Suzanne closer to points, they will scale back to 0. Now how do we control how much it scales? Well, we can just find Shift A, a clamp node, which will just clamp our values to be maximum 1, a scale of maximum 1, and minimum 0, which is fine. And then we can even Shift A, find a color ramp node here, and that completely allows us to control the fall off of the scaling. Let's say you want them to scale closer to Suzanne, we can do something like this. Now when we move it through the points, they will scale down to 0 the closer they get to Suzanne. And the bonus tip, make instances scale down if they are in the view of another object. Bonus tip is that we can actually scale down these spheres depending on whether or not Suzanne looks at them. That way Suzanne won't ever know that there are spheres anywhere near her. How do we do that? Well, we need to compare the actual direction vector between a point and Suzanne with the actual rotation of Suzanne, the direction she's looking at. So how do we do that? Let's first get the direction vector with the location, subtract, and just subtract position, that is the direction. How do we get the rotation vector? We have a rotation value here. Shift A, find a rotate vector. There we go, we can crank the rotation into the rotation, and our vector can just be the forward direction of Suzanne, which is usually the Y direction. So we can just set this to 1. And then we can just compare these two with our dot products, which will tell us the how well these two vectors are aligned pretty much. 1 means they are perfectly aligned in this case, and -1 will mean they are pretty much in the back, right? And 0 will just be to the sides completely. Then we can use this to, let's just connect it first to the scale to see if it works. Right now, the front-facing ones are scaled 1, the back-facing ones are also scaled 1, so we need to clamp this value, Shift A, clamp, so they don't go to -1. There we go. And now we can just set the Y value to -1, and that way wherever Suzanne rotates, she will never really be able to tell that there are spheres behind her. Then we can just find a multiply node here after the color ramp. We can set this input here to that input, so they are combined, and scale. There we go. So now when we rotate this, she won't be able to see them, and even when she moves back to them, they will scale down, so she has no clue there are spheres anywhere. That were the 5 tips, 6 including the bonus trick for Blender geometry nodes. If these tips helped you at all, please leave a like, a comment, subscribe, it would help me out a lot, and good luck.